How's it going, YouTube? I'm starting a new video series today. It's not like my other video series. In fact, it's quite different because I just started my PhD, which is pretty exciting, bit intimidating, bit daunting, but here we are. And I'm just going to explain what my PhD proposal is. I'm not going to go through every detail about it, but I might read my project summary that is in my proposal that I submitted to get accepted into the PhD program. So why don't we just do that? I'm just going to, just as a broad scope though, the general idea is that I'm going to be using AI as a collaborator to make music. That's kind of the really condensed idea behind the whole thing. It's a bit controversial. I'm not a big proponent of AI, or I'm not championing for it necessarily, but I think it's an interesting topic. And I think considering how prominent it is in our lives at this point, it's at the forefront of technology. You could argue that it's like a problem in search. You could argue it's a solution in search of a problem, which a lot of people do argue that, and I sort of agree. But I do think it is an interesting new world that we're moving into, and there's a lot of issues in terms of ethical issues, plagiarism, all that sort of stuff. But I also think there's a lot of exciting possibilities. And I think we're entering a new phase of human creativity. And so that's kind of why I wanted to do it and how I wanted to approach it. So I'll just read my project summary, which I've got written here. This project proposes the use of generative artificial intelligence as an active agent in a process-led creative practice. AI-generated compositions and motifs will serve as the basis for bespoke works that hinge on collaboration between human artist and AI model. Through a three-stage process of AI-generated content collection, user-led manipulation of materials, and controlled curation of the resulting work, I hope to demonstrate the potential of AI as an active tool in the creation of original artworks. The use of generative AI in this practice is born out of its relevance in the zeitgeist of art discussion, the inherent ethical ramifications of its use, and how it can be harnessed as a collaborative extension of human creative output. Bit of a mouthful, not gonna lie, but that pretty much sums up what I want to do with this. So, in these videos, I want to sort of document my process, and I'm just at the start of this, so I'm just going to be learning as I go. Over here, I have some AI generations, some musics, and we're going to go through them. I'm going to use some of these, at least, as the basis or some sort of basis for making other music. I love remixing tracks as it is. Done a few videos on my Instagram about that in the past, but it's going to be a sort of ongoing process of how I approach using the material, because a lot of the music that is generated by the AI is in a sort of full song format, you might say. So then I might have to use other AIs to strip elements out. I've found it can be quite difficult and quite unpredictable when you're trying to just get single elements. We'll get to it. But yeah, it's the technology, while impressive, definitely has some serious limitations. And I think to the layman's, or to somebody who isn't a music producer, they might not notice a lot of the things. They might notice them. I don't know. But to me, a lot of the elements that make it not quite right, shall we say, are maybe not immediately apparent, but you just listen a little bit longer and you notice them. They're very obvious to me. But then on top of that, they're kind of creatively bankrupt. Like they're just devoid of, I don't know. I hate to say the human element, even though that's exactly what it is, but it's something else. It's like the AI or a computer can create a piece of music using the musical structures, cultural structures that we have built up over thousands of years. It can take those rule sets and create something, but whether or not that something is good or resonates, that's a whole different story. I kind of compare it, or I like to compare it in a way to when you hear music, human-made music, that is extremely generic, like paint by numbers kind of construction kit, like sample construction kit kind of music, very genre specific, like, I don't know, like say, generic dubstep track version 1 or whatever, like that kind. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Those sorts of things exist. And I think the AI generated stuff is a lot like that. It's maybe a little bit more broad, but anyway, let's get to it. I've found so far that the deep AI model so far is the best one that I've used. I find that it produces the most varied results, because I think a lot of the other ones are really tailor-made to make money. And so they're like, oh, you love Taylor Swift. Why don't you use Taylor Swift's voice and just make a Taylor Swift song? Or why don't you make Donald Trump say something fucking ridiculous, which you don't even have to use an AI for that. He's saying shit all the time that's fucking ridiculous. But that's not the point. The point is that most of these tools aren't really aimed at exploring the possibilities of what the AI can do. They're more aimed at delivering a product that people can just piss away some time on their phone with, And that's a bit disappointing. But I find that deep AI has sort of come up with the most interesting results. So initially, I sort of thought, let's try and make some music that I like music that I might try to make, or that it sounds like artists that I really like. So I wanted to make some sort of I guess, glitchy electronic music or IDM or something like that. And the results are varied and quite good. Let's have a listen. It's a bit meandering, and it kind of doesn't go anywhere, but it's texturally quite interesting. And I guess I would say I'm impressed with the level of detail that that the AI has sort of managed to inject into it. And by that, I don't mean the quality of the audio. I mean how specific it is to certain subgenres of electronic music, which on their own are actually quite esoteric and left field. So the fact that it was able to drill down into that, I actually think is kind of impressive. This one's much more palatable. Kind of like future bass vibes or something. Still pretty generic, I've got to say. I think the other thing that's worth noting with this as well is that when I get a result like that, I actually find it quite discouraging, because I'm just like, well, what am I going to do with that? Like, it's basically, even though it's a bit boring and generic, it's kind of a finished piece. So, like, what am I going to use that for? How am I going to turn that into something? It's a bit like if you do a collaboration with another human artist, and they just give you a finished track. And they're like, oh yeah, you do something with that. And it's like, well, it's a finished track. Either I'm just going to remix it because it's finished version, or I'm just going to say, can you give me a different track because that one's finished? And it's a little bit like that. So I'm trying to get the AI to give me something that's more usable. And I think that's where a lot of the stem splitting tools are going to help me here as well. But let's listen to another one. I've included the prompt that I used in a lot of these titles. Not all of them have the prompt because just because I lost the prompt in some situations, like the page reloaded or whatever. But this one was make some IDM music that sounds like a cross between Fortet and Ortega. And you might have noticed I've got the old model here. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, you should be able to see that. So Deep AI allows you to pick between the new model and the old model. And honestly, I'm glad they do, because the old model often gives me better results or more usable results because they're kind of more lo-fi. Anyway, let's listen to it. And they all just cut off like that, which is so random. I actually quite like that one. I'll probably use it for something. But yeah. And then that was the old model, and then I used the same prompt with the new model and got something pretty different. And for some reason, this one's 1 minute 35 versus 30 seconds of the other one. Maybe that's because the old model only does 30 seconds. I'm not sure. But this sounds quite a lot like Ortega, I've got to say. So I'll just leave it there. I will probably use that one too, because I just think that's something I can work with, and not just because I like it, but because it sort of leaves enough wiggle room for me to do something original with it. So I'm interested in using that. I then decided to take a different tack. I'm going to get to these other ones. They're not in any particular order. I tried to make something that was more like progressive house, like Sasha or Yotto, like I've written in this prompt. And it did a very good job of emulating that, except everything it emulated, oh, sorry, not everything it emulated, but what it came out with, even if it's accurate, is terrible. I'm just going to say that much. So let's have a listen.
We fell apart like a distant dream. The past held us tight, a silent scream.
It's real bad.
I needed you, but the scars ran deep. In shadows of night, my heart did weep. Oh, the echoes of what used to be. Trapped in a love that couldn't set us free.
I don't know. It's accurate to the genre, but it's accurate to certain subsets of prog house, which I don't like. So I think because I put female vocal in there, it then gave me something that is like the most generic prog house female vocal track ever. And then I did another one. Let's have a listen to that. This one's a bit more interesting because you can't really decipher exactly what the vocalist is saying. Like you can sometimes, but then other times, not so much. But it's still a bit like naff. I'm not that into it. I think with... I like this bit. Might just loop some sections of it or something. And perhaps if I strip out the synths using another AI tool, it will make it sound even more lo-fi. Because like I do like aspects of it, but I don't like it as a whole piece. And that sort of echoes what I was saying earlier, where it's like sometimes it's difficult for it. Like you can't just ask the AI to give you like a vocal stem. It just doesn't know really how to do that, which is really disappointing. I wish they had almost trained it on sample packs, because that would be better. I'm still at the beginning of exploring this stuff, so maybe that is an option. Like I know that Splice offers an AI generator as well, so maybe they trained theirs on the Splice library. And if they did, maybe that's more appropriate. I don't know. I'll have to look into that later. But I also did prog house vocals using the old model. I don't know if that was my prompt, but that I probably lost the prompt. But anyway, let's listen. But you can already tell that it's a bit glitchy and weird on the old model, but I actually prefer it that way. So I might use that, you know, because it's just interesting. Let's have a listen to this one, which is a similar thing. So I think I'll use that as well, because it's just kind of cool. Like I won't use all of it. I'll just chop little loops out of it and stuff. But I like how synthetic it sounds and kind of lo-fi. I don't know. It's kind of cool. All right. So let's move on to some other examples, because I basically today was trying to get the AI to give me just a improvised vocal performance without any lyrics, without any music behind it, just a single vocal improvised, like the one I just played, but like better quality. And it was very difficult to get that out of it. So let's this is the first thing that it gave me, and audio quality wise, it's impressive. But it's also just not what I wanted. I might still use it, but let's just listen.
In the desert winds my soul does sing, a tale of ancient lands where magic clings.
Like it's cheesy
the
as
stars
fuck.
dance above in the unending night, guiding my whispers in the pale moonlight. Oh, the echoes call, a rhythmic guide. In the shadows of the night I find my stride. Mystic journeys woven in melodic tones. In my
You can see
voice,
you can hear like a little bit of
spirit roams.
music rising in the background. It's Move
From
forward a bit. Yeah, it's like a drone rising up.
beneath the crescent moon, I wander and dream.
I want to try and see if I can get the AI to give me drones as well. That could be interesting. But I asked it to give me like an a cappella vocal with no music and like I don't remember exactly what I said. I've lost the prompt. But that's what it gave me. And I'm just like, I didn't ask for spoken word, but I guess that's what you came up with. But then I asked it again. Maybe I changed the prompt and it gave me this, I think. Which is like I asked it to be in a Middle Eastern style. I don't know, just quickly, I don't know if this one, because I don't speak like Arabic or anything, I don't know if it's just gibberish or if it's actual words. If anybody who's watching this can speak Arabic or Persian or something like that, please let me know, because I want it to not be real words. I just want it to be vocal improv. Like I might use some of this. This is the thing, is that just taking pieces of it as like a source of inspiration could be interesting. And then the old model gave me something as well, so let's listen to that. It's a bit all over the place. But there is something there. Yeah, so anyway, the last thing I want to show you from this AI generation session that I had is I tried to get it to just give me a drum beat, like a break beat, just a beat, and it just couldn't do it. I just ended up just typing in amen break because I figured maybe it would get that. Like an amen break is probably one of the most ubiquitous, famous drum beats of all time. Like it's been sampled so many times. I figured it would know what that was. It kind of got some of the way there, but not really. Let's have a listen. Like, this is just lo-fi hip-hop, the most generic lo-fi hip-hop you've ever heard. Lo-fi beats is what this is. Just wait for it. It's nice though, but... like, if somebody just told me this was just a lo-fi beats artist, I'd be like, yeah, sure, whatever. That's what that is. So I could potentially use something from this. Like, I like the piano in it. And it also gave me another example, which is pretty similar, I've got to say. Wait for it. There's something there. There's definitely something there that I could potentially use. I'll tell you what though, it's not an amen break. Not even close to an amen break. I used a different AI model. Like that one was AI music. It's just one of the websites. And this one down here is Make Song. None of them, these ones aren't Deep AI. I still think Deep AI is the best one that I've used. This one sounds pretty different again. I tried to get it to give me just a drum beat, and this is what we got. Like the drum beat, kind of. Everything else about it I absolutely hate. It's awful. move forward a bit. It's surprising though, like the arrangement is surprising. These rises and stuff, like... So anyway, I don't love that. I think this one maybe is better, but let's have a listen. Yeah, this one's better. It's more interesting. Not all of it, just bits of it. Let's move forward a bit. It's like we've got Amen Break at home. It's not even close to Amen Break. Maybe I'm asking too much of the AI. But anyway, that's probably going to do it for this video. I am going to make more videos about this. It's kind of going to be like a vlog sort of situation where every week I'm just going to talk about my findings. I'll probably walk through the process of making the music as well. That'll probably be the next thing I do. Probably later this week is I'll make another video where I just make the music and see what happens, because anything could happen. And I want to explore lots of different angles or like approaches to making it, because you know, when you make music, especially electronic music, you can approach it from so many different ways. You know, like maybe you start with a beat, maybe you start with some chords, maybe you start with a bass line. You know, maybe you just start with some sound design, as I often do. So I'm going to be starting with chunks of AI generated audio, and that's going to dictate what I do, like how it comes out, how it evolves. So yeah, I don't know how appealing this video series is going to be to people who watch other content on my channel, but these videos are going to be part of my PhD and a way for me to track my progress as well. So from that angle, it's useful to me. So hopefully you find it interesting as well as I move forward on this journey. I guess you can join me on the journey if you want to. All right, I'll see you the next time I make one of these videos or my other videos. Bye.